guys, it's Mrs. Atkinson. Today's lesson is going to be all about quadrilaterals. So I have my math notebook out here. Please feel free to grab your math notebook, pause this video if you'd like, and try to copy down the diagram that I have on my math notebook. I really think, even if you don't have as colorful as this, even just a rough outline or sketch will be very helpful for you in understanding today's lesson. Quadrilaterals can actually be confusing. It seems like, oh, that's easy. They're just, some shapes. But quadrilaterals actually have many different properties that classify them. And in fourth grade, we need to know which properties are important and what they mean for the kind of quadrilateral that we're talking about. So let's start with the word quadrilateral. You can kind of see the word quad. Quad means four, just like if you were riding on a quad or a four-wheeler. Lateral, the word lateral means line. So a quadrilateral is simply a shape that has four lines. And listed down here, I have 5 different kinds of quadrilaterals. So if you have a quadrilateral where only one side or one pair of parallel lines exists, and sometimes they go like this to show parallel, they only have one pair of parallel lines. You can see how these lines right here will never intersect. They're running opposite of each other. On this side, we have lines that would eventually, boom, crash into each other right there. So these lines are not parallel. So whenever you have a figure that has 4 sides, it's considered a quadrilateral. However, it only has one pair of parallel lines that we call a trapezoid. And I'm going to I want to show you another example using, this is the packet. Let me show you the cover so you can see that. Triangles and quadrilaterals. And if you have this at home, this would be a really great thing to pull out for today's lesson. So this could be one example of a trapezoid, but a trapezoid can look something like this too. We still have one pair of parallel sides, and then these guys are not parallel. Our angles for a trapezoid, we can have acute angles, we can have obtuse angles, and we can even have right angles for a trapezoid. It all makes sense. All right, let's move on. Now, a trapezoid we know has one pair of parallel lines, but what happens when we have 2 pairs or 2 sets of parallel lines? Well, then it's called a parallelogram. And a parallelogram, we could say that it has this one pair, and then we could go like this and make the second pair of parallel lines. So here we have 2 different pairs of parallel lines, which make it a parallelogram. So it has a very fitting name. But what happens when we have a parallelogram, right? But our sides are all equal, right? So this parallelogram up here didn't have equal sides, right? These 2 guys were a lot longer than these ones on the end. But a parallelogram can have equal sides as well. And in that case, it is called a rhombus. So a rhombus is a figure where opposite sides are parallel. It still has 2 sets of parallel lines, just like a parallelogram. However, all of the side lengths are exactly the same. So that's a rhombus. Now, a rectangle is also considered a parallelogram because just like a regular parallelogram, we have 2 pairs of parallel lines. But what classifies a rectangle as a rectangle is that it has 4 right angles. So I'm going to make those little right angle marks right there. So a rectangle is considered a parallelogram, and it is also considered a quadrilateral, just as a rhombus is also considered a parallelogram, and a rhombus is also considered a quadrilateral. Now, let's go this way. Is a parallelogram a rhombus? No. Why not? Well, because a rhombus has all four equal sides and a parallelogram does not. All right, let's keep going. So now at the very bottom, you have my absolute favorite quadrilateral, the square. The square is very special because the square is actually everything here. A square could be considered a rhombus. It is also a parallelogram. It could be a rectangle, which I know sounds a little strange. And so it's also a quadrilateral. It's all of these things. So the square is very popular, right? It is all of those things. Now, a square is a little bit different or unique because it has four right angles. We know that. And all of its sides are this exact same length, just like the rhombus. And it does have opposite sides parallel. It has two sets of parallel lines. And that is why it is considered to fall into this category. So I hope you understand that lesson. Today, when you get into some of your assignments, you are going to be listening to a song, and then there's a fun song that I put as an optional assignment. You're also going to be watching a Math Antics video. I think that Rob, the guy on Math Antics, he explains it really well. I viewed several videos that went along with this lesson, and I just like the way he does it. So we're going to watch him. You're also going to be going on to Pearson Realize today, and you're going to be doing a practice buddy assignment. And please take your time with it. I'm going to be going back in. I'm going to be looking at the scores for that, and I can see how much time you spent on it. I can also see how many you got wrong, and then Mark went back and got them right. And I do want you to do that. But please don't just fly through it. I really want you to pay attention. You're also going to go back to I Know It. I hope that today's assignment is actually going to be a lot quicker than yesterday's for I Know It. And the directions for getting there are also going to be linked in case you forget how to do that. And what's the last thing? Oh, the last thing you're going to do today is a little slideshow. It doesn't have to be super elaborate, although you know that if you make it fancy, I do appreciate that. I can really tell that some of you have been putting in lots of time and extra work to make your math learning shine through, and I do appreciate that. But you'll be doing a simple slideshow for demonstrating your understanding of quadrilaterals. Again, if you haven't yet copied this hierarchy down, you may want to do that in your packet. You also have the same thing listed on page 13. So if you don't want to copy it down, at least have this packet open if you have it at home, because this is going to help you with today's lesson. I hope everybody has a great day. Happy Thursday. We have one more day left tomorrow, and then you get a little break for your weekends. And as always, reach out if you have any questions at all. Have a great day.